There are several definitions of corporate governance, and I reported in these slides only the three ones that I considered key, the most recent of which highlights how this is a process through which shareholders induce management to act in their interest, providing a degree of confidence that is necessary for capital market to function effectively. The corporate governance became a key policy issue for governments around the 1990s, with the collapse of communist regime, which triggered the privatization of large part of the commerce and industry in Russia and Eastern Europe. Through the world, governments started selling shares in state-owned industries such as airlines and railways or oil and gas industries, and this led to the creation of a large shared market that needed to be better regulated. With the advent of globalization, the need for accountability also increased, and hence the corporate governance became a vital issue in managing organization in the global and complex environment. Corporate governance can be then defined as an umbrella term that includes specific issues arising from interaction among board of directors, senior managers, shareholders, and other corporate stakeholders, and through which the objectives of companies are determined, set, and monitored. Various corporate governance theories are reported in literature. The first and most used of which is the agency theory. This is based on the concept that principals delegate the running of a business to the directors or managers, who are defined as the shareholders' agents. Shareholders expect the agents to act and make decisions in principals' interest. As a result, the theory is based on the separation between the ownership and control. Overall, the agency role of the director is to serve the shareholders by ratifying the decisions made by the managers and monitoring the implementation of these decisions. The monitoring process is particularly important to protect the shareholder interest, and from this arises the so-called agency problem on how to induce the agent to act in the best interest of the principals and not in their own self-interest. The stakeholder theory suggests that managers in organizations have a network of relationships to serve. These include the suppliers, employees, and business partners. This requires that a corporate entity needs to provide a balance between the interests of its diverse stakeholders, either internal or external, without giving priority to any of them. Overall, organizations which manage their stakeholder relationships last longer and perform better than those that do not. The stewardship theory presents a different model of management, where managers are considered good stewards who act in the best interest of the owners. The stewardship perspective suggests that stewards are satisfied and motivated when organizational success is attained. These result into minimized costs for monitoring and controlling behaviors, with consequent maximization of the shareholders' wealth. Companies with good governance practice tend to perform better than those without practice. However, the excessive control via governance can have a negative impact on corporate entrepreneurship and performance. In today's fast-moving market, managers know that bureaucratic approaches do not enable companies to achieve the quick response they need to beat the competition. And if their company are to survive and succeed, management teams in large companies especially need to act like individual entrepreneurs. In recent years, the practice of corporate entrepreneurship has gained increasing attention among managers and academics, and it possessed the ability to foster innovation. The corporate governance system should have two broad dimensions. The first dimension needs to focus on monitoring management performance and ensuring accountability of management to shareholders. On the other hand, the second dimension focuses on the need for governance structures and processes that motivate managerial behavior towards enhanced enterprise. Good governance requires rules and regulations that are flexible rather than prescriptive. And this is particularly important as in the last 2 decades, in parallel with the restructuring and downsizing of traditional industries, we also seen a dramatic growth in new businesses, especially based on the internet. In this environment, board of directors inevitably behave differently. Despite the size of their business, the chairman and the CEOs behave like entrepreneurs. The boards usually consist mostly of executives, and this is the example of Facebook, LinkedIn, or Amazon's, which are the biggest companies working on the internet at the moment. This is why it is important that rather than talking about corporate governance, we talk about corporate entrepreneurship, which refers to the activities undertaken by a firm to stimulate innovation and encourage calculated risk-taking through its operation. This can take the form of new business generation, products or process innovation, or strategic renewal of a firm that already exists. Corporate entrepreneurship is highly risky and can be responsible for the success or indeed the failure of the firm that consequently shareholders' wealth. So for this reason, support from top executives is fundamental in order to successfully implement entrepreneurial activities. However, due to the high level of risk, some executives avoid implementing these activities, thus compromising both the firm's profitability and the shareholders' wealth. This view stresses even more that an appropriate governance mechanism is necessary to assure the presence of corporate entrepreneurship within the firm. To encourage corporate entrepreneurship in an organization requires that the board of directors play an active role. A recent study from Rigolini 2013 highlights 2 key variables that influence the entrepreneurial function of the board and its involvement in corporate entrepreneurship. These are the board attributes and the major stakeholder types. The board's attributes include composition, characteristics, structure, and process, which can influence the way in which the board accomplished its various rules, whilst the major stakeholder type have a great incentive to monitor the decisions of the CEO and the commitments to the corporate entrepreneurship. Overall, corporate entrepreneurship comprises different internal actors, which are directed by the board of directors. The first and most important actors are the employees. The human aspect, in fact, has been recognized as an integral part of value creation. Both knowledge and employees' initiative are particularly powerful sources of entrepreneurship within a firm. The middle managers are also considered as an important internal actor, as they interact with a wide range of employees, which allow them to use both formal and informal approaches to encourage innovation and calculated risk-taking. They also communicate ideas for innovation to the upper manager, creating the opportunity for the evaluation of ideas within the context of the firm's overall strategic priorities. Top management team also promotes and empowers corporate entrepreneurship by enabling the firm to develop individuals who can act and think with entrepreneurial autonomy. Top managers must develop and institute a strategic vision to promote products or process innovations and entrepreneurial activities for all the employees. Another important element that has been considered is ownership. A positive factor increasing the level of corporate entrepreneurship within a firm include the ownership of some stakes by the executives. This would avoid opportunistic behavior. In fact, increased ownership would make executive wealth more dependent on their company's long-term performance, which would give executives the incentive to pursue long-term corporate entrepreneurship projects. It is important to highlight that the shareholders can use the board of directors to monitor executives and ensure a focus on long-term value creation. For this reason, a strong and vigilant board is essential for the promotion of corporate entrepreneurship within the firm. Agency theory has suggested that a strong and vigilant board can be capable of monitoring the strategic decision of executives while aligning the interests of the top management and shareholders. It can also establish safeguards against managerial opportunism and evaluate management activities. It can also serve as a provider of resources that are essential to seek new opportunity. Thus, in order to promote corporate entrepreneurship within a firm, the board serves principally as wealth protector and wealth creator. And these are the two main elements to take into account. So the combination of all these actors creates normally healthy and entrepreneurial corporate governance, and this is how the long-term survival of a company is ensured. To conclude, what we have seen in this presentation is that corporate governance comprises a set of principles adopted or practiced by organizations in order to ensure corporate direction, responsibility, and accountability. It is important that the corporate governance system are continually reviewed and improved at national and corporate level to ensure the needed flexibility to accommodate business growth within the evolving social, cultural, and political context. Corporate governance influences the level of corporate entrepreneurship, which impacts the performance of the firm. The board of directors should achieve a balance between wealth protections and wealth creation in order to ensure, encourage, and promote corporate entrepreneurship within the firm. This activity is directly linked to the shareholders type. And corporate governance can ensure the long-term success of a company in a continuously evolving market only if it's composed by rules and regulations that are flexible rather than prescriptive. Thank you very much for your attention, and this is the list of references for this presentation.